Hey everyone, give me just a little while to get set up. Send emails to everyone. And let's put that StreamYard link in the chat. Wait for YouTube to load. Good, that's muted. And it didn't work. So try again. Excuse me, and pin. Why can't I pin it? Wow. Oh. Okay, still not posting. There we go. Wonder if that's a YouTube problem or a StreamYard problem. Copy. Send. There we go. Right, now what? Let's have a look at this. So Matt suggested we have a look, or suggested I have a look at this. Hi, Kevin. I think it's called X Factor Winner Reveals World's Secret Religion by Altian Childs. But I suspect they're going to say, I haven't watched it, they're going to say that the secret religion is Freemasonry. Wow. So demonic. Ah, yes, Denzel Washington, who claims to be a Christian. I'm going to have to ask Matt exactly what we were supposed to be looking at with this. Because it's not exactly revealing anything. Yeah, I've had enough of that. That's not showing us anything. So, Kevin, did you want to have a look at Zechariah 11:17? Yeah, being one-eyed used to be an insult, didn't it? I mean, there's still people that use it as an insult today. But then Jesus talks about your eye being single as well. Woe to the idle shepherd that leaveth the flock. Their sword shall be upon his arm and upon his right eye. Which eye are they covering? They're covering their right eye, aren't they? His arm shall be clean dried up, and his right eye shall be utterly darkened. G'day, mate.
Hey, Graham. Yeah, I was trying to show you that that's called one-eyed symbolism. It's a cult symbol because they use the Bible verse there to show that the Antichrist's right eye will be utterly darkened out or wounded or something. So they do that to show who they're following.
Ah.
Yes, and then when they put their finger over their mouth like the symbol, I mean, it's another symbol they give each other, like a code, like we're part of the same club, like secretive.
Yeah, don't reveal the secrets.
Yeah.
Secret societies.
Yes.
So did you want to have a look at that YouTube video?
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's also about Hollywood and the actors, in their own mouths, willfully admitting that they go through spiritual rituals and open themselves up to spirits to play their roles and act the parts and things like that. That's what that is. Just exposing Hollywood, as I would call it. Yeah, this is a Christian YouTube channel.
Sorry?
This is a Christian YouTube channel, and they show actors and stuff actually admitting to these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We're
crazy.
going to talk about celebrities that invite spirits into their lives so that they can do better actings. Do you know which ones do this?
Find out on this episode of
All of them, I would suspect. If they don't, they're not part of the club. I'd be interested to know if the ones who were on the outer, like Mel Gibson, I suspect he has been part of it. I suspect he's trying to get out, and they're making it very difficult for him.
Yeah. The ones that, if you want to call it apostatize or whatever, they go into like exile where it's like they're not popular anymore, and you never see them in like films or anything anymore.
And they have to do things themselves.
Yep.
They never get invited to do anything.
Right.
But Mel Gibson was in a movie recently with Sean Penn, and he's definitely part of the club.
Well, there you go.
So it could be that he's playing a role,
Right.
Mel Gibson.
Yep.
And he's acting like he's not part of the club. or he is trying to actively separate. Sorry, this terrible echo. I'm in a, yeah. If you can mute yourself when you're not talking, that's excellent. Otherwise, I'll have to mute you. He's acting. He could be acting like he's not part of the club, but actually is. Or he's trying to get out, but he's so famous and popular that Hollywood can't completely isolate him. And so they're still trying to find a way to get him back in. So he is actively trying to leave, but he's in a halfway house and can't fully leave, maybe. Or maybe he's not fully committed to leaving. Who knows? It's impossible to know what's going on in people's minds. G'day, Kevin. Again. G'day, Ivan. Ivan, I don't think we've talked since the third game, which was brilliant. The only one that I watched. I started watching the first game and then gave up after Queensland were getting smashed, and I didn't want to watch the second game, and I thought, hey, let's try watching the third game. So I don't know what you think about that. G'day, Jeremy, and g'day, Doki. Good to see yous all. So we're looking at a video that Kevin posted earlier. We only just started watching it, about Hollywood actors submitting themselves to spirits, what we would call demons as Christians, to do their acting roles. Which doesn't surprise me at all, quite frankly. So let's start again from the beginning.
Welcome back to LED Live. Today we're going to talk about the celebrities that invite spirits into their lives so that they can do better acting. Do you know which ones do this?
Find out on this episode of LED Live.
I've got to let you know, Ivan, my favourite Queensland game was the one where we put 50 points on New South Wales, and I think they scored 6 points. I think it was the last score of the game. I think it was something like 50 points on New South Wales. It was game 3 of a series I think we lost. I think it was close. Was it 2014, or it might have been 2014 was the year that ended the 8-win streak. So 2014, 15, 16, 17. It might have been 17 or 18 though, or it might have been 15 or 16. I can't remember what year it was now. That was my favourite game. Because that's how much I hate New South Wales. And all these people that don't know what I'm talking about, especially Christians listening to me going, Graham, you're talking about hate. This video is supposed to be peace, joy, and love. Yeah, but this is Queensland versus New South Wales. It's okay to hate.
So before we get into this topic of which celebrities are using demonic influences to actually help them in their acting, we want to thank our Patreon donors for allowing us to be able to do what we do. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for your support. Every show we will thank you. You will probably hear us say this a million times, but thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are literally the reason that keeps the lights on in this operation. So we just thank you guys. If you also want to become a Patreon donor, we do post shows often after we do a particular topic. If you guys want a little bit more detail, definitely check out our Patreons. We also want to share with you.
Sorry, but that music is really annoying. And I just want to let everyone know that I will be here for an hour to an hour and a half. If there's enough people on the channel that want to keep the stream going while I'm gone, I should be gone for, I don't know, half an hour to an hour. And then I can be back for a little while. Then I have to go out again. So, and just to update everyone as well, so for Ivan's benefit, we've bought a caravan. For the rest of you that are in America, I think the rest of you are in America, you would call that an RV or a camper or something, camper trailer, I think you call it. A vehicle that you tow behind your vehicle, that is essentially a home on wheels. It's a small one, 13 foot or 8 meters. It doesn't have a bathroom, shower, anything like that. It's got fairly basic kitchen facilities. I think it has an electric stove / oven, and a gas fridge. Yeah, Nicholas, if you want to post that stream here, I'll send people over there, and I'll actually join if and when I can. So when that's starting, yeah, please provide that link. And yeah, and I'd like to join as well when I can, but I will get interrupted. So anyway, so this, what we call caravan that we've bought, it's got fly screens on the windows, but one of them has got a ripped edge along it. Oh, and that, to let everyone else know as well, we're trying to leave town, so we need to sell our house. We're trying to move, so for Ivan's benefit, from where we are to North Queensland, Atherton Tablelands, hopefully Coranda, maybe Yungaburra, somewhere around there. And that's closer to where I grew up. So we've had enough of a trip over here in Kununurra, and it's also so my wife can get better help, a better social support network with the Christian community and the broader community. But we might also travel down to Tasmania before we settle in Queensland as well. So we'll see. Oh yeah, so this fly screen, well, I need to get that fixed in about an hour, a little over an hour and a half. I have to be there, and it only takes 5 to 10 minutes to get anywhere in Kununurra, so just less than an hour and a half. Hour and a quarter if I go. And then later on, we're going to look at a car that we might buy. Yes. Oh, and I was talking the other day, for those that are interested, we might be moving to the US as well, but it would be dependent on being able to get a job over there. And that would require someone sponsoring me into the US. I've already had Jeremy, Kevin, and Joel offer a place to stay. Oh, Ivan, you don't know me at all. Nothing interests me less than home and away. I used to watch Neighbours, actually, about 30 years ago. I used to watch Neighbours, but even that has no interest for me whatsoever, except the fact that I used to watch it for a while. But Home and Away, no interest whatsoever. Yeah. So when I go, so in about an hour or so, Nicholas is going to be streaming. Actually, I'll open that now. So I've got it ready. Well, I'm actually more interested in a job than a place to stay. Jeremy offered was it carpentry? I think Jeremy offered, but an offsider, so just hammering nails and stuff like that, because that's as far as my skills go. Even my skills that way aren't that great. Joel was thinking about a job with SpaceX, but the SpaceX job, I have to be an American citizen, which if I move to America, I'll be prepared to do, become an American citizen, by the way. I agree with Ray Comfort, and Ray Comfort learnt it from Charles Spurgeon. If you move to a country, become a citizen of that country, because that's where you are. Commit yourself fully. If God puts you somewhere, then he wants you to be fully engaged. And it may mean that I start speaking in American accent as well. Start using American words and saying wrath instead of wrath. Excuse me. Right. So I've got Nicholas's. Ivan's been watching the Olympics. On this channel, you might be the only one, Ivan. I definitely haven't. And I suspect that a lot of others on this channel have zero interest in the modern Olympics. Oh, yeah. So, Nicholas, we are looking for a place to stay, but the more important issue, I mean, I'm sure I can find a place to stay once I get there if I have a job. But yeah, sorting out being able to, because if I visit America, I'll be spending massive amounts of money trying to stay there. And I'd love to visit America, but we don't really have the money to spare. Yes. Yes, exactly, Nicholas. I want to support the non-woke Olympics as well. But you're not supposed to be here. So off you go now. No. Kevin's gone quiet. Kevin's not even at his desk, or he's forgotten that he's muted. Oh, there he is.
I was just letting you talk.
Yes. Yeah, but I'm just waffling while I wait for I don't know what.
Yeah.
I was going to keep playing this video, but I was finding that music annoying.
Oh, they're the intro music?
Yeah. Well, they have this music underneath while they're talking, which annoys me. It's music that sounds weird to me.
Yeah.
Video is sponsored by videomission.com.
Like it's that, ooh, aliens are out there type of music.
It's a Christian stock media resource. Check these guys out. And there's a lot of really high-class video reenactments of biblical topics. If you guys are making YouTube videos and you need some cool footage.
Wow. And they actually use non-white actors
to be able to illustrate those topics, check out videomission.com. Also, t-shirts. We sell t-shirts, so it's a great way to support and wear the witness when people walk around and go, oh, wow, where'd you get that cool t-shirt? You can say, I got it from Little Light Studios. You should check out their YouTube page. Today's topic is going to be taken from actually a couple of projects we've worked on. One called The Gnostic Gospels. We made a documentary that really deals with the movies like The Matrix, 300, a lot of those Trump Truman Show, and
Truman.
those kind of movies that take biblical themes and flip them upside down. Also, there's another one called False System of Worship that this one specifically is going to be taken from, and you can get these on our website, Little Light Studios.
I like the topics they do. I wish they'd get rid of the music.
All right, let's get into this. Everybody's excited to get into this. We have a guest on our show again. Leah has been joining us for the last couple of episodes.
Who doesn't know which camera to look at?
And she came out of the New Age movement into Christianity. We heard her testimony. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check out some of the other videos in our YouTube page. You'll hear her whole testimony and then the topic.
I think I'd rather listen to them talk about the gospel first. Yeah, I used to be interested in the Olympics back when the Olympics were about sport and not about politics.
Yep, amen to that.
Let me see if I can find a better video for us to start listening to. Yes.
Can't see you.
I don't have video on. What do you mean?
How can you talk?
Because I'm talking. Audio and video are separate.
On that thing you just sent me.
Yes.
Why don't you go into the discussion room? Video room.
Are you trying to get on the stream? So I sent you a stream link and a YouTube link. Sorry, my wife's trying to get on the stream.
No, that's fine.
I think she's not sure how though. I might have to go help her. Wow, they do a lot of stuff on Hollywood and the music industry, and
yep.
I want to see
something. What the channel's about is exposing the darkness.
Yeah, but I want to see something they do about the gospel. There's too much darkness in our world, and I don't want to watch a video that focuses on the darkness. Even while they're exposing it, I still would prefer to start with something that has that off to the side, warns us about it, but focuses on the gospel. Oh, I don't see them doing anything. So here's one on the biblical culture. That might be interesting.
I haven't watched that one.
They've got one on the origins of Christmas. I suspect, based on what they've done, that I'm going to strongly disagree with them. Well, it looks like they're trying to say that Christmas is pagan, but there's zero evidence. But we don't have to get into that. Oh, come on. Show me one where you tell me what the gospel is. Just tell me the gospel. That's what I want to listen to. Then I know that I can trust you guys. Oh, this should give me a good idea of what I should think about him.
I found this channel because one of the guys was on Kent Hovind's channel a couple months ago. He stopped there and they were talking about this kind of stuff, and they put a plug for their YouTube channel. And Kent Hovind's like, "Yeah, check them out, subscribe." And I was like, "I will. I'll check them out."
Oh, sorry. Did you say that Kent Hovind recommended them?
Yeah, one of the guys from the channel went to Dinosaur Adventureland, and he was in there talking in person with Brother Hovind, and he put a plug for his channel. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. So here's a video on their reaction to Kanye West appearing at Joel Osteen's church. I suspect this will give me a very, very good idea I suspect this will give me a very, very good idea of what to think about them. And while I'm doing that, I'll be away from the keyboard, trying to help Margie
what's real and what's not. And we just
get.
ask for your presence, ask for your guidance, and speak your Holy Spirit through us today. We love you. Amen.
Amen. You know what we need your computer for? To monitor the comments. So go on YouTube.
Live, LED live.
Hi.
Oh, we're live. It's
Hey.
weird not being able to see it.
Yeah, no.
And people are here our
Yeah.
microphones.
So we won't be able to see it.
Okay.
We need to
Do you need me
watch.
to monitor the comments? I have
Both of you
Yeah.
should actually.
Yeah.
this
So
thing
then I'll
here.
just take this out.
YouTube.
And
You want to let our audience know how
Yeah.
things are going to go today, Kendi?
Sorry, we're running a bit late, you guys, but I see a lot of you are here. We really appreciate that. So the topic for today, as you saw or you see up there, is Jesus King. We're going to be reacting to Kanye West being invited to the Lakewood Church in Houston and basically his whole journey. And this is a live show. Welcome to LED Live, the live version of the show.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do, we're going to discuss the topic a little bit amongst ourselves for the first about 15, 20 minutes. And then we're going to open up the phones to you guys. You can call in. We'd love to hear your opinions,
we did get a new phone.
to answer your questions. Yes, we got a new
Yeah.
phone. We can use the speaker. We can hear you clearly. So we thank you so much for your support from the donations that were made last
she's
week.
gonna
We were
leave it in
able
there
to
because-
order a phone. Oh, look, we got another donation already.
Aww.
Who's this? $20 from MB3. Michael, is that you?
Michael, thank you, man.
Thank you.
And we're actually
That's
we're
awesome.
actually using the phone that you guys donated to last time. Brand new phone. This thing's
Yeah.
hopefully spot on, amazing.
But unless we know how to mute those, we should leave it in the office until we're ready to take calls.
Do you have a URL?
Huh?
Do you have a URL like for the video? Because it doesn't show up in the. Oh, here we go. The live. That's
Okay.
really what we want.
Mhm.
So before we get started, I want to share a little testimony from one of our supporters, a testimony about their experience with LED Live, our shows. So this person's name is Miguel. Miguel has a friend from church, a young guy, probably like 24 years old. And last Saturday, Miguel was cutting his hair, and they were watching Overcoming Addictions. You remember that episode that we
Mhm,
released? So Miguel's friend was so intrigued by the video that he wanted to watch another one. And the video they chose was Endgame.
Nice.
And after
Wow.
Endgame,
Okay.
they watched another one. So by the end of the night, they had watched 3 LED
Oh no.
lives.
Binge watching LLS.
That's right.
And Miguel said, oh, he was so tired, but it went so well, it was worth it. And at the end of the night, the guy asked Miguel to give him Bible studies.
Wow. Praise
And
God.
so Miguel just wants to praise God and thank us for doing what we do.
That's
and
awesome.
to
That's
encourage us to continue to putting out videos.
that to me is what this is all about. I
Yeah.
mean, literally, there is no other reason why we even are talking about these subjects in the first place,
Yeah.
other than to just, hey, lead people to Christ and say, hey, there's a war going on out there, and we believe the answer is Jesus. So
Everybody's been able to hear us and everything.
Oh, yes. Can you
Oh,
hear
yeah.
us? Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Miguel says thank you.
awesome.
Oh,
All right.
Miguel's in there.
And all the best, Miguel, for those Bible studies. We're praying for you
Yes,
and your
for
friend.
sure.
Okay, so we're doing an update video on Kanye.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much information before. We were kind of
That's true.
shooting in the dark when we first recorded it. It's probably like a month ago we
At
did
least a
that
month, yeah.
Right.
before the album was released and all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And now Kanye has been kind of outspoken, very outspoken actually about his faith. He has renounced his past in these interviews, and he's actually gone international with his Sunday services. I don't know if you guys knew, but he's been to Jamaica
Wow.
and continues doing these tours all over the
awesome.
country.
Wow.
So any comments so far?
No.
No?
I mean, I'm anxious to see like how this is going to play out, because it seems like a super polarizing
Mm.
topic.
Yeah.
I mean, people are either like love what he's doing or absolutely think it's the most.
Super polarizing topic. Well, I think we've had enough time to tell that nothing's really changed with Kanye as far as I can see. And him standing with Joel Osteen tells us what side of Christianity he's on. He's on the side of false Christianity. And some people might think I'm being too harsh, but by their fruit, you will know them. And where's the fruit? All of the fruit that Kanye West is producing since his supposed conversion. All of the fruit is either, can't really tell, not sure what's going on there, or, well, that's not of God. That's the only type of fruit that he's been producing.
The only thing he's done is tell her to cover up. And then they split up.
That was the most godly thing that I saw him do. He told her to cover up, and she said, "Oh, we're on different journeys." But that's not necessarily a journey towards God. That could be a journey into legalism. But yes, that's the best that we can say about what Kanye West has done, is that he had a desire for modesty in his wife. But nothing that has to be produced by the Holy Spirit. I mean, human beings can have that desire. So what we're looking for is Holy Spirit fruit in Kanye West. And people can say, oh, that's not our job. We're not called to be fruit inspectors. Well, actually, you are. Matthew chapter 7 says, by their fruit you will know them. See you, Nicholas. And yes, just to remind people, Nicholas is going to be streaming in about an hour, and I'm going to be shutting down in about an hour, coincidentally. Let's call that the providence of God. So when I shut down in about an hour or less, I'll provide you with that link again to Nicholas's stream, and I encourage you all to head over there. And I don't know how long I'll be gone for. I'll be heading over there as soon as I get back. Yes. I'm still looking for, I wish these guys would have an intro on what is the gospel. That would be handy. Oh, let's go to their about. Let's see what that tells us. Nothing much either. Bummer. Because I'm a lot less interested in wading around in the sewer, pointing out how evil the sewer is. Not that that's not a good thing to do. It's just not something that interests me much. I think that's something that should be off to the side.
Is New York 2 hours ahead of every other state, or is New York behind?
Who's Neil?
New York.
Oh, New York. No, not every other state. So the East Coast states like New York and Florida and everything to the north and south of them, they're 3 hours ahead of California. So California, Oregon, and Washington are West Coast. East Coast is pretty much most of the original 13 colonies, if not all of them, plus a couple more. So everything from Rhode Island and New York and Maryland and Maine and I don't know, I suspect Virginia. I don't know if that's in the same time zone because that goes inland a little bit in West Virginia. Oh no, Virginia's on the coast. What else? Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, I'm not sure. Who else? So Georgia's just north of Florida, if I remember correctly. Come on, you Americans. Kevin, who's East Coast time zone?
Carolina is. I went down to North Carolina before.
Is East Coast time zone?
Yeah. New York, yep. Maryland. My friend Mitchell lives in Maryland. I visit him. They're on the same time zone as we are up here in New York. Rhode Island, New Jersey.
So part of Connecticut, I've just looked it up on Google. Part of Connecticut, Delaware, part of Florida, Georgia, part of Indiana, part of Kentucky, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, part of Michigan, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, part of Tennessee, Vermont, Virginia, and then my list cuts off. So it must be more than Virginia. And West Virginia. Oh, so the only one missing. 5 states are in both the eastern and central. So you go from east to central to mountain to west. So central isn't actually central. Central is just slightly west of East Coast.
Yeah.
One of the hilarious things about America. Hang on, who was that first one that they said includes the state of Connecticut, Delaware, part of Florida? Sorry, did I say part of Connecticut? I think I said part of Connecticut.
Yeah, you do.
No, not part of Connecticut. Connecticut is fully East Coast. I thought that was strange because I was pretty sure Connecticut was right on the coast. Because it's one of the original 13. West Virginia is the only one of the original 13 that goes to the west, isn't it? Oh, Pennsylvania is one of the original 13, isn't it?
I couldn't tell you. I'm terrible. I don't know.
How can you not know?
I don't know what the original 13 colonies were. I don't remember.
13 original states. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So from Georgia to, let me bring up a map on it so I can give you. Oh, okay. So New York and New Hampshire are the northern boundary, and Massachusetts. So there's a state. What's the state between New York and New Hampshire?
Between New York and New Hampshire?
Yeah, what's to the east of you?
East. Is that Pennsylvania?
Northeast. No, Pennsylvania's to the south.
Oh, the other way. I don't know. What is
to the northeast? There's a state, and then there's New Hampshire, and then there's another state to the northeast, which I think would be Maine. What's your most northeasterly state?
Well,
let me go back to the other.
Canada.
No. Vermont.
Niagara.
So New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. As you go up towards the northeast, that little arm, I guess you'd call it, that goes up around towards Canada, away from the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy. Vermont. See, Jeremy doesn't even live in New York, and he knows it better than you.
Yeah, geology is like. Listen, when I was in school, that was like one of my worst subjects. I hated it. Like it bored me to death. I couldn't stay awake in class. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Stick with me. I'll get you interested, because here's one of the main reasons I think you should be interested is because politically those 13 colonies, at least as far as I can tell, worked really hard to build a biblical foundation for freedom and for political, for a political system. They wanted a political system that honored God. and there is argument still about how biblical it actually was. Some of them were Freemasons, apparently, but whether Freemasonry back then was the Freemasonry of today and how many of them were actually Freemasons, but I look at your American system and I go, it's extremely biblical.
Well, in my opinion, probably the freest and best state to live in the U.S. today would probably be Texas.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, yes.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that some people don't like Daily Wire, but when Daily Wire moved to, I can't remember what state they're in. I think they're in Tennessee or Alabama.
Tennessee's not that far from me. It's like an 8-hour drive.
Yeah. And Tennessee's where Jeremy is.
Oh, okay.
And it's not far from Dinosaur Adventureland.
Yeah.
He's just north of where he was in Florida. He just moved slightly north into Alabama.
Yep.
I think partly to get away from his son.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that whole situation over there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. It's sad when these things happen. But yeah, the most southern of the 13 original colonies is Georgia. The most northern is New Hampshire and New York, or at least the northern part of New York, because New York's, it's south and north of New Hampshire. Because it's so big. Yeah. So all of the states between New Hampshire and Georgia, including New York, are the original 13. So exclude Vermont and Maine and Florida. All of the East Coast states except Vermont. Oh, because West Virginia wasn't a state. So Virginia and West Virginia were one state back then.
Can I share a video?
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Yeah, so I agree with Jeremy. So if you're in StreamYard, there's a share link.
Just copy and paste the link and then just paste it into the chat or the private chat.
Yeah. Do you mean share it in the chat or share it on the stream? Marg. No. Hopefully she's trying to figure it out. Yeah, no, I agree with Jeremy. Tennessee's better than Texas because Texas, all the Californians trying to leave California have moved to Texas. Plus, Texas has a big problem with illegal immigration. The demographics are changing. I suspect, though, that whilst Texas demographics are changing, the political mindset is also changing at the same time, and not necessarily in that direction. There's also people that are waking up and moving away from that mindset at the same time as that mindset is increasing in Texas. So it wouldn't surprise me if Texas stays as Republican, essentially, mostly. It'll be interesting to watch how that develops. It depends how much the rhinos ruin it, because if the rhinos ruin it, it will definitely go Democrat, because people will give up and go, well, we might as well just get what we can get out of it. And if conservatives leave Texas, that's the other thing as well. If conservatives leave Texas and head for a more conservative state like Tennessee, that'll ruin Texas.
Texas is a very conservative state.
Used to be. It's not as conservative as it used to be. It's been slowly moving, and you see that Ted Cruz only just won over Beto O'Rourke. And that tells you how non-conservative it is now. Ted Cruz, as far as I can tell, rock solid conservative. To There are people who disagree with that and think he's part of the establishment. I'm not convinced that he is. I think that he's about as conservative as you can get, and Beto O'Rourke about as loony left as you can get without being extremist on the outside. He's the soft face of the extremism of the left, and Cruz only just beat him. That should have been a whitewash of, you know, Beto just becoming an absolute laughing stock and not being able to run for president, right? So he still ran for president, you know, pretending to be half Mexican or something or other. He's got absolutely zero Mexican, but he wants to pretend with this stupid Beto nickname that he has. Graham, how come you know so much about American politics? Yeah, well, I follow it pretty closely. So, Margie, do you want us to watch that, or who's this? Oh, something Margie uploaded. Okay, well, let's have a look at this. This is some of what's going on in my country. I haven't watched what Margie shared here, but this is called Australian Police.
How are you, sir? Yeah, I've got 3 matters here. There's my ID. I'm an Australian lawyer, and I've got 2 crimes to report, and also a very important 6-page letter, which is 70 whistleblowers from the New South Wales Police are blowing the whistle on the fraud behind the COVID pandemic, and in particular, trying to seek other police to join their whistleblower group. They're saying here that many members of the force are fed up with the approach to enforce oppressive rules placed upon the population in the name of COVID. And this is from Senior Constable at Senior Constable, I'll give you the name. Senior Constable Alexander Cooney, the Coffs Clarence Highway Patrol. This is very, very serious. It's just come out. New South Wales Police Force. So he's written this letter, whistleblower, to Michael Fuller, Police Commissioner of New South Wales. We'll just cut into the punchline because I know you're busy. Police force employees should have a choice as to whether or not to receive vaccines. The police believe that all members of the community also have choice around receiving vaccines. Police do not participate in any way in the forcing of vaccines upon the population, which we all know the Prime Minister's.
Graham, your mic is muted.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to repeat what he just said. Police do not participate. So this is a legal appeal, right? So police are currently being forced to be fascists here in Australia, in most of the states in Australia. Their jobs are on the line if they don't do what the government tells them to do, because the police force has become politicized. It is not independent of the politicians and their stupid decisions and the neo-Marxism of this lockdown lunacy. Because I'm going to be very careful with my words because YouTube will ban me. But if I get banned, I said I was going to move over to, where did I say I was going to move over to? I might be moving over to Discord rather than the other place I said I was going to go. Can't remember where it was.
Rumble?
No, Rumble I have to pay. I have to pay to live stream on Rumble. No, there was another one that was relatively free speech, much more free speech than most of them. Not Twitch.
Is it Telegram?
No. All of them you have to pay to live stream. I've already paid StreamYard. I don't want to have to pay again. Oh, there was one I was saying that I was going to go over to recently. One of the other ones I can't remember now. Anyway, if I'm not here, look for me somewhere else. And most of you have my email address. I'm not hard to find.
Do you want me to send that link without the music? Because I added the music to that video.
Yes, it'd be much easier to hear him.
I thought it was appropriate because the whistles in the music, because the whistleblower. But
It's
I got three views on it.
Yeah, it's too loud.
Yeah.
If it was softer, that'd be good. Oh, and for those of you that don't know, you should all be listening to this as well. I should give you the link. I haven't listened to this video, so I'll go away. Stupid ads.
In the article that I wrote today in Sydney's Daily Telegraph, Brisbane's Courier Mail, and the Gold Coast Bulletin.
So this is an Australian TV channel called Sky News. There's two Sky Newses. There's the UK one, which is leftist, and this is the Australian one, which is definitely not. Well, sometimes, but they're much more opposed to leftism than most sources, and especially people like Alan Jones and a few others that are on Sky News. You can trust most of what they say. Alan Jones isn't a Christian, but he is one of the better news sources.
The headline of the story, the editors headlined it, "Suspension of Belief, Overlooking Facts and Failing to Have Proper Conversations." Now, in other words, I am arguing that what we are forbidden, what we are prevented from telling you, which I believe you're entitled to know, but unless you toe the line, you're cancelled. For example, in that article I mentioned the New Zealand Prime Minister.
Exactly. I was recently cancelled on YouTube, on Facebook for telling the truth. And I'm going to be careful about how I say this because YouTube have the same attitude. You can ask me privately if you want more information. But yes, a lot of the things that he's about to say, I suspect, were the point that I was making, that fascism and Nazism are on the rise in another form. And it's not us conservatives. It's not the people protesting against all this lunacy who are the fascists and Nazis, as the left try to constantly say, and as the media say, extreme right wing, by which they mean Nazis and fascists. All right, so it's okay for them to use those terms, but when I use the term Nazism on Facebook, I get banned for 24 hours. I'm planning on leaving Facebook permanently. I won't delete my accounts. I just simply will stop using them, and I'll ignore Facebook for a while until they wake up to themselves. But anyway, let's keep listening to Alan.
Minister, I've already referred to this, Jacinda Ardern, who this week urged New Zealanders to, quote, take all non-government information with a grain of salt, dismiss anything else.
Yep, only trust the government, because the government is always so trustworthy. Do you know the biggest threat to human beings and to human lives in the last 100 and 200 years, in fact, for all of human history, the biggest threat is the government. The government has killed more people, caused more wars, more genocide, more mistakes, by the way, as well, that have caused people to die, have been caused by the government than any other single source. Of course, individuals, but that's every single individual. That's not a single source. The government is the most dangerous thing to your freedom, to your health, and to your life. And she's a prime example of it. Absolute fascist.
Will continue to be your single source
and liar
of truth. And that New South Wales Health Minister, who's become a health.
And here's the thing that scares me even more, is how many people go, oh, yes, please keep us safe. It's not the government's job to keep you safe. It's your job to keep you safe. Make sure that you're informed. If you start trusting the government, you are guaranteed to lose your safety. I think it was Benjamin Franklin or one of the founding fathers of the US who said, those who trade safety or security for freedom will lose both. And no, actually, I think there's a quote that says deserve to have neither. And then I think someone else says yes, and will lose both. And that's what the history of the world teaches us, if you know anything about the history of the world. But unfortunately, our education system doesn't teach anything about history anymore. The government cannot be trusted. The only way that you can ensure that you have a government that that protects freedom is that the people fight for it. But we've stopped fighting. Many, because they're not even aware that they should be fighting, many actually support the government and go, oh, yes, that's the government's job. It's the government's job to protect us from criminals. Please disarm us. It's the government's job to ensure our health and safety. So we'll give the government's responsible for all of the health decisions, and we'll do whatever the government tells us to do. Blind, stupid sheep. While being led to the slaughterhouse. And I'm serious about it. I mean that literally. Being led to the slaughterhouse, not the sheep bit. That's metaphorical for how stupid and woolly-headed, got wool for brains. Thinking with wool, and wool doesn't think. So I hope you grasp what I'm saying there. I feel like I have to explain everything I say because people are so stupid today. And I don't mean most of my followers. I mean someone coming across this and going, oh, what are you talking about, Graham? Oh, you're saying that. I don't know. People make up all sorts of things that I didn't say because they're too stupid to understand words. And so they have to imagine that I'm saying something I never said. That's the stupid world we live in. Anyway, let's keep listening to Alan.
Hazard has said the same thing arrogantly and dismissively, dismiss the ideas that aren't based on science or medicine. I mean, that's nonsense. On so many issues, science is never settled. Science is about testing theory.
I don't know who Brad Hazard is, but I suspect he's a New South Wales bureaucrat. So that's the biggest state in Australia, and it's where they are based, and nearly all of their news is Sydney centric. The rest of Australia doesn't exist, but that's because that's where they are. That's what they comment on all the time. And by the way, Sydney is not the capital of Australia, but these people all act like Sydney is the capital of Australia. Because it's the largest city and most things are based there. And then any media organisations that are based in Melbourne act like Melbourne's the capital of Australia. And everybody ignores Canberra, which is the actual capital of Australia, but is terrible. It's just absolute bureaucracy. It's just a political city, and a leftist political city at that. It's a disgusting hive of villainy, rich, like it's just filled with stupid or evil people, and frequently both stupid and evil people.
Challenging received truths. There's no
just like Washington DC.
Science on climate change, coronavirus, vaccination, or masks. Testing a plurality of views is what we should be doing. Are we saying in 2021 we should be denied those views? Jacinda Ardern says of her government, we'll continue to be your single source of truth. The United States president is telling big tech to get on side with government and censor voices the government doesn't like. This is nothing more than a crackdown on the free exchange of ideas.
Oh, because big tech hasn't been censoring. Is that what we're saying? They already censor, but we're not censoring enough for the fascist left. And yes, I do say fascist left because fascism has never, ever, ever, ever been on the right. There is no such thing as right-wing extremism. It doesn't exist because right-wing is conservative. And extremist conservative is a contradiction in terms, you morons. Hitler was not a conservative. Oh, but he tried to make Germany great again. yes, by promoting progressivism, not conservatism, you morons.
Did Kevin go?
Looks like it.
We are in deep trouble when the leader of the world's democracies, America, is instructing private companies to abridge the freedom of speech and of the press to the point where big private companies are acting as functionaries of government. The journalist Glenn Greenwald, who helped publish the whistleblower Edward Snowden's surveillance abuse in 2013, called the union of corporate and state power, and I quote, one of the hallmarks of fascism. I've said many times, the real pandemic failure of a politically correct society to give the public access to a plurality of views. Well, enter again into this field the cognitively declining President of the United States. This bloke continues to get a saloon passage, a free run. His incoherence is unchallenged. Here he is talking to a CNN town hall meeting. Now, of course, CNN are mouthpieces for Biden. And you'll see here another example of embarrassing, stumbling incoherence.
Leftist apparatchiks, constantly filled with agitprop. They're liars. Anybody who's watching CNN is brain dead. Has no awareness of what's happening in our world. Never, ever, ever watch CNN, except with absolute skepticism. They cannot be trusted. Not a single thing that they say. You have to double check, triple check, quadruple check everything they say. The default position is don't believe a word that they say. And that's true for most of what's called the mainstream media. Someone said to me the other day, we shouldn't call them the mainstream media. Well, what should we call them then? So that people know what we're talking about. The agitprop media? Actually, that's not a bad. The APM, agitprop media.
Asked, what's your message to parents and educators about kids?
G'day, Kevin. Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to hop off for a minute.
Righto.
Number 12 and not yet vaccinated. This is the President of the United States.
Everyone under the age of 12 should probably be wearing a mask in school. That's probably.
I can't stand this guy. I can't.
12 who are
I know it's very bad, but just look at he has that kind of face where I just want to kind of punch him. I don't
He's
know.
a pedophile.
I know it's terrible, but I think I would get great pleasure out of pounding his face in.
And
he's a pedophile.
Disclaimer here, we do not at all support physical violence against the President of the United States. We will not be punching him in the face. For those, who are checking this channel, the morons that can't understand that Kevin is expressing how he feels. So it's okay for the left to express how they feel in the most violent terms, and that's excused away. But when we on the right say exactly the same thing, we're violent sociopaths who need to be cancelled. So just for the morons out there that can't understand language and can't understand logic, yes, we're not going to punch Biden's face in. But I will say as well, if you bring war to us, we will defend ourselves. So we won't start it. You guys are trying to start it. But try and start it and we will try and finish it. And God willing, we will finish it. Sorry?
It blows my mind. For years we've had the seasonal flu that kills thousands of people every year. And never before have they pushed this stuff like this. And I would argue that the seasonal flu is more deadly than this.
We're not allowed to talk about that.
I know, but I'm just saying it's ridiculous.
I completely agree with you, but we've got to be very careful what we say and how we say it. And
I'm tired of the
let's keep going. Let's let Alan say it. He's less likely to get cancelled than us.
To get vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, you shouldn't wear a mask. If you aren't vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask.
So see, this is all of this double speak. Because they're still saying that vaccinated people should wear masks. But then they also say, oh no, if you've been vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask.
Yeah, they talk out of both sides of their mouth. Exactly.
Yeah, which one is it? It's nothing. It's absolute lunacy. They just make the rules up as they go along. They just... And here's the thing that annoys me so much. They've been doing this for over a year now, constantly changing the rules, and nobody remembers. People just remember the last thing that they were told. And people don't examine this and go, hang on a second, this doesn't even make sense. Like, you're constantly contradicting yourself. I shouldn't listen to a single word you say because it's absolute, it's constant moronic lunacy.
And these elitists don't follow the rules either. They don't follow the rules that they tell us.
They don't do it. Yeah, they don't do it. They do it for the cameras, and then as soon as the cameras stop taking photos, they're all taking the world leaders, the G7 recently, or whatever it was, G9, they don't know, that keeps changing all the time as well. They're all socially distanced with their masks on for the cameras, and then as soon as the cameras are turned off, take the masks off and all milling around. It's all propaganda. Agitprop. And I'm going to keep using this word agitprop from now on. Look it up. It comes from the Russian Revolution. So the communist, it comes from two words that mean agitation and propaganda. Thankfully, so it's actually a portmanteau in Russian, agitprop, that comes over exactly in the same form in English, because the two words that it comes from start with agit. In agitation, the word for agitation in Russian is the same at the beginning, agit, and then it's agistaya or something. It changes a lot after the agit. But propaganda comes directly from Russian. It's exactly the same word in Russian. It's propaganda. So it's Russian communism, and that's what propaganda comes from communism. And these people are the communists. Yes. And people go, oh yes, but communists and fascists fought each other. Yes, and communists have fought each other as well. Just because, but they're all socialists. They're all on the left.
Yeah.
They're all just fighting for power. You know what the biggest difference between Hitler and Stalin was? Was not what they believed. The biggest difference between Hitler and Stalin was Hitler and Stalin. Hitler wanted to be in charge and Stalin wanted to be in charge. That's why they fought each other. They didn't fight each other for any philosophical or any other reasons. They both wanted to be the socialist in charge of the world, or at least their area of the world. And Hitler wanted to wipe Russia out, and Russia wanted to destroy Germany, or at least Hitler, and rule over Germany. And they succeeded partially for a while. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Jesus is coming back.
I sure hope so, Graham. I wish he would.
In fact, he will. I can guarantee that he will.
Of course. But I mean, soon though.
Well, yes. Well, in terms of, he did promise to come back soon. Nearly 2,000 years ago, he said, "I'll be back soon." And 2,000 years isn't that long, especially compared to the 4,000 years that went before it. It's still a short period of time compared to 4,000 years. But it's even shorter now. I'll be very surprised if it's more than a few years. I think it'll be less than a few years, quite frankly.
I hope you're right.
Then
I have been more of this I can take, man.
I have been saying for about 5 years now that I think it'll be this year.
Ken Hogan thinks it's that the end times will be starting this year as well.
Yes, I know he says that. But he's what is he now? Post-trib or
he's post-trib, pre-wrath. That's his position, because he defines tribulation different than you do.
That doesn't make any sense. Post-trib, pre-wrath.
Because he counts the tribulation as only the latter 3 years of the time of Jacob's trouble. The first 3 years, he doesn't count that as the tribulation.
So what's he calling the wrath? What's the wrath then? Hello? Oh, he's dropped out.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. But I still want to know what's Kent Hovind defining the wrath as then? If the tribulation's not the wrath, then what's the wrath?
Is that what Kevin said? It was Ken Hovind said that he was coming this year.
Kent Hovind
Yeah.
said that Jesus is coming back this year. Yes, I've already heard him say that.
Okay.
He believes it will be this year in September, if I remember correctly.
Well, he doesn't
I
believe
sent
Jesus
you-
is coming back this year. He believes a 7-year period will start at some point this year.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So because
Tribulation, sorry.
Kent Hovind is not pre-trib, he believes that the tribulation, the Antichrist will rise this year. Yes, that's right. Because he's wrong about prophecy.
I just bought his book. I'm waiting for it to ship. What on Earth's about to happen, for heaven's sake. I'll read through it, and then maybe we can go through some of it and see what you think about it.
Actually, if he has a video, let's listen to him explaining why he has his position. But Kevin, please explain to me what Kent Hovind thinks the wrath is.
Okay, so in his opinion, the wrath of God is when the vile judgments and like when the angels turned all the seawater and the blood and like in his
So he's saying that's not part of the tribulation.
Right, he's saying that's the wrath of God. He doesn't count that as the tribulation. He's saying that's what God does to the unbelieving world. We're not here for that.
So what's the tribulation? The first 3.5 years?
Yeah, the tribulation is when the Antichrist persecutes the saints, and the last 3.5 is when God pours his wrath on the unbelieving world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gracious. Why do people got to keep fiddling with things?
Like he does have multiple videos up. He has a whole chart where he explains why he believes what he believes, and he goes through.
This is why I'm a pan millennial. I keep retreating into pan millennialism when I go, I just don't care. I'm sick of all of this lunacy and Christians arguing about something that is not that important. We should not be divided on this. And if we're going to be divided on it, then either we're not Christians, right? The division is caused because people aren't Christians, or we're not behaving in a Christian way.
Well, Kent wouldn't divide from people because they believe in a pre-trib or whatever. No,
I know. I'm not blaming Kent. I'm just saying, but it is still division because there's a difference of opinion. I don't mean dividing in the sense of separating from fellowship. I mean division as in the sense of confusion and multiple ways of thinking about this. There should be one thought on it, one mind, because there's one spirit. There's one truth.
So,
yep.
I sent you a new link. I sent you a link of Jesse's new video.
Oh, okay. Let's have a look at
really
that then.
good. She's gone to her mum's, but yeah, she was happy for me to play it.
So let me just share for the benefit of people that want to watch that police video without the music. There's the police video without the music. And now we're going to play, copy, paste this video here. I've had enough of listening to Biden and enough of politics, so we'll stop.
I've had enough of looking at his face.
Oh, yeah. And Kevin's been calmly sitting there, not punching his screen. Oh, Margs, you uploaded that thing without a title. It's just called title.
Doesn't matter. I can change that.
Well, let's listen to Jessie.
Well, you can't hear her, but she's done a really good video.
Oh, okay. And I want to get to the gospel. In one of the harshest environments on earth lived the Ona peoples in the land of fire. Particularly was a tribe named the Selknam. They were fit, strong, and tall, an average of 5'11". Oh, taller than me by an inch. They lived in a region dubbed by Magellan as Patagonia, the land of the Bigfoot, aka giants, in 1520 AD. Explorers poured in, looking for primitive natives. I'm going to turn the music down while I read the primitive natives, giants, and resources. The Selknam peoples were the most prominent tribe in Tierra del Fuego, flourishing in one of the harshest environments, one swim stroke from Antarctica. Oh, well, it's a little bit wider than that, but okay. Then in 1833 AD, Charles Darwin visited after his theory of evolution and wrote this of the, I can't read that, mighty Selknam. Can't read that very well either. Although essentially the same creature, how little must the mind of one of these beings resemble that of an educated man? What a scale of improvement is comprehended between the faculties of a Fuegian savage and Sir Isaac Newton. See, this is disgusting. This is what I find so abhorrent about evolution and evolutionists. And not every evolutionist thinks like this, but evolutionists don't think. That's what disgusts me. And they use people like Christians, like Sir Isaac Newton, the greatest scientist who has ever walked the earth, by the way, and not only the greatest scientist who's ever walked the earth, at least, in our understanding of what we call science, but he wrote more on the Bible than he wrote on science. He was a very careful and detailed Bible scholar as well, and he spent more time studying the Bible than he spent studying science. I can't remember if it was Sir Isaac Newton or another great Christian scientist who said that science is thinking God's thoughts after him. And this scumbag, this absolute feces of a human being, because I don't like using the other word, but this horse dropping, cow dropping of a human being, dog dropping of a human being, wants to compare these human beings, the Fuegian savages, as he calls them, to Sir Isaac Newton and say, oh, they must be stupid because he was too stupid, right? It's Charles Darwin that's actually stupid. He was too stupid to see how intelligent they were because he didn't understand their society, so he assumed that they were no different than animals in their intellect. Beagle Diary, Tierra del Fuego, 1834, February 25th. If you want to stamp out racism, stamp out Darwinism and evolution. And that will go a long way to reducing racism. It won't eliminate it completely. But the major source of racism in our world today is evolution. And I suspect that's the point that Jesse is making here, actually. In 1899, the superior race of the Spaniards and English came to capture the subhuman Selknam and display them in human zoos. Let's put superior in quotes, or what we call inverted commas there, and let's put subhuman, or at least the sub part of it. They're more human than these scumbags who did this to them. Human beings disgust me.
Yep, we're sick. That's why we need Dr. Jesus.
Yes. And if not Dr. Jesus, then Dr. Lead Pallet. And now it's your time to provide the disclaimer for the morons who don't understand that I'm being hyperbolic.
Yeah.
They were not quite human. See, less evolved. And that's why it's racist to compare dark-skinned people to apes and chimpanzees and primates. But it's not racist to compare white-skinned people because of evolution. There is still this evolutionary mindset that says they are closer to primitive animals. Whereas the Christian mindset, we don't think like that. We're all of one blood. We're descended from Adam and Eve and from Noah and his wife and 3 sons and their wives.
Yeah.
But these morons can't understand any of that. And they will mishear what I just said and call me a racist for saying what I just said, when I'm the one fighting against racism. I'm pointing out what the source of racism is. It's you morons, you evolutionist morons. And I'm going to keep using the word morons because that's what it is. It's stupidity, but it's worse than being a moron. People think that I'm too harsh saying the word moron. Well, actually, I'm being kind. I'm being kind using the word moron because you're worse than morons. You're evil. It's demonic. It's disgustingly demonic. It is evil. It is vile. It is scummy to the nth degree.
Yes. I mean, because if you think about it, if you're racist or hating people, you're actually hating the image of God because we were made in His image.
Yep.
So,
according to the theory of evolution, oh, she said, so was that the finish of a previous sentence? They were not quite human according to the theory of evolution. Around 18 were taken from 3 different tribes. Many did not survive the journey. Many died in these zoos, but none made it home. Poor people. This is how vile human beings are, and this is another reason why the government cannot be trusted. The government's supposed to protect human beings from things like this. The job of the government is to uphold righteousness. It's not to keep us safe. It's not to protect us from ourselves, from our own stupidity. It's to protect us from the evil of other people.
Yes. Yep, because then the government, just like with this whole thing that's going on in the world now, they take it too far and then they trample on your freedoms. You know, I was told you never sacrifice freedom for safety.
Never. Never sacrifice freedom for safety. Never.
Right.
The savages of Patagonia. We need to turn that into a t-shirt. Never sacrifice freedom for safety.
Yeah.
Never.
Write that down and I'll design one.
Yes, design something. In fact, Margie, can you write it down this way? On the front, have the word sacrifice emphasized. On the back, have the word never emphasized. So have it front and back. Never sacrifice freedom for safety.
Yeah.
I was going to say slavery. Safety/slavery.
Can you say that again, please? Or put it in the comments.
I'll email it to you. To Margie.
What would you want? What would you like? Breaking chains? What would you like the picture to be?
Yep. 2 hands up with chains between them and they're breaking the chains.
Yeah.
Never sacrifice freedom for safety. And you got to remember we got to split the profit with Kevin.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I'll buy a shirt.
Kevin, did you get my email?
No.
I sent you a link on oxygen therapy to do with pain and stuff.
Oh, well, I'll have to check my email. Maybe it is there.
You know what Dr. Hoven says about those hyper chambers?
Yeah.
Apparently it helps with back pain.
Oh, hyperbaric chambers, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know where I would go to do that, and I don't know if I'd be able to afford it either. It's probably really expensive.
No, apparently there's places all around America that have like bars that you can go and get oxygen therapy.
Oh.
Same thing. So yeah, they do they've modified it.
Oh, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Actually, we might have to look at a couple of different designs, Margie, because I'm looking at it and going, we really need to emphasize freedom as well. So maybe there's a couple of different ways to do it. We might have to do
We'll
some
give
research.
some profits. We'll give some profits to Jess too, because she's sparked your creativity.
Oh, I'm going to have to go. Right. So I haven't finished playing this, but I'm going to have to go now. Where's...
Yeah, Nicholas has his stream up.
Yes. So I'd like to encourage people to go over to Nicholas's stream. It will be starting in 13 minutes. Here is the link for everyone. Please go over there. I have to go. I will be back later. And if Nicholas is still streaming, I'll join him. Thanks
Letting
for being
you know we'll be out at 9 and 10 to 10:30.
What are we doing at 9? Oh, we got Megan. Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm going to be gone for a few hours, so I won't be streaming. So I forgot that I have 3 appointments. So I've got one in 15 minutes, and then I have another one in 3 hours, and then another one in 4 hours. So I might stream for a little while if Nicholas isn't streaming in an hour for a while. So I'll catch you later. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, everyone in the chat. And yeah, I've given you some links to keep watching if you want to watch more of those things. I was going to go to Dave Hunt as well, but we didn't get finished and we didn't get to the gospel. So let's do the gospel really quickly. Kevin, give us the gospel.
We're all wicked sinners. We owed a debt we could never pay. Christ paid it for us on the cross. As long as we believe in who he is and what he did, it's accredited to us, and he promises that we'll have everlasting life.
Amen. Christ died for our sins.
And it's found in 1 Corinthians
15.
What is it? 15. Wonderful.
1-4. Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures. He was buried. He rose again according to the scriptures. Or in Ephesians 2:8 and 9, for by grace you are saved through faith. And that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. Or Romans 1:17, the just shall live by faith. Thank you. God bless. Catch us next time.
All right. See you.